Welcome back to Tales from 4chan. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a long while, actually. Should we get started? Today we're going to be looking at stories from TG, the tabletop gaming board of 4chan. Some of these stories are going to make you laugh. A lot of them are going to make you go, oh no. How would you implement a hazard so dangerous that just looking at it kills you immediately? Lots of things. Gorgons, Basilisk, Ark of the Covenant, nude picture of Mitch McConnell. Be me, level 3 paladin. Get jumped by a gang of cultists. Brutally murder them all. Leave one barely alive for questioning. After we question him, friendly healer druid blasts him away for almost killing him. Loot his corpse. Find a tiny bag with 3 tiny white balls. Looks tasty.jpg. Eat one immediately. No scent. No flavor. Confused.mp4. Party begins looking at me, seeming worried. Everything slowly starts fading. Remember chasing another cult member who ate cyanide to avoid questioning. Shit. Suddenly flick to black. Swap to party's POV. They see me get a 1,000-yard stare while I seized out and began foaming at the mouth. I fall to the floor. Party begins panicking. Druid had 1 spell slot to cast Lesser Restoration. I wake up hours later. DM rolls a lot of dice once I wake up. Oh shit.gif. A smile creeps across his face.
Anon, when you wake up, you notice that for some reason your skin seems rocky and thick. Your skin gives you +1 to your AC.
My face when I get rewarded for my stupidity. Trying to teach a girl how D&D works. Makes half-orc rogue. I'm loving the concept. First fight starts. Okay, DM, I spray the enemy with water. What? You can't do that. Why not? Aren't I half-orca? Make a random encounter table. They roll for a sight, then for a wishing well. Super simple setup, just a well with a sign that says wishing well, 1 gold coin. If they throw in a gold coin, let them roll a d20. On a 1, the well collapses. On a 20, the wish comes sort of true. Just a fun little 3-minute thing.
What's at the bottom of the well?
I use detect magic. Is there anything here?
What school of magic?
We tie our ropes together and lower the Triton into the pool of water.
Do we have anything that makes light underwater?
I wild shape and also jump in.
How wide is the cavern? Are there any tunnels leading elsewhere?
So yeah, gargantuan water elemental incoming. Party is a group of Marines in space. Not space Marines, just normal old Marines. Have to drop on a planet from orbit. Unknown if any hostiles on planet. Player who is pilot wants first plunder rights. Looks to another player and says, "Hell drop." Other player excited about first plunder says, "Hell drop." Drops dropship on the planet with no thrusters or any power-assisted landing until after atmospheric entry. Rolls a skill check. Rolls a 100%. A critical failure. Whole party dies in fiery impact on planet surface. Everyone makes characters again. Same guy makes pilot. Looks at another player and says, "Hell drop." Other player stares at him and says, "Hell drop." Rolls a 99%. Another failure. Party dies in fiery impact on planet. Third round of characters, someone makes an officer and orders him to enter planet nice and easy. Something about the consistent suicidal glee of your group just tickles me. Be me 3 weeks ago, preparing for a Lord of the Rings campaign with some others. Gonna make a half-elf. GM gives the okay. Other player sees this in our Discord. Asks if he can be as tiefling as I can be a half-elf. GM asks how would that work? Player saying this on the spot. My mom screwed a Balrog. Be us in the present, 3rd session. Exploring underground dungeon. Hear loud roar. Hiya, Dad! Player character's goal is the resurrection of his wife. DM explained early on that it's a relatively simple goal, since it's basically just collect 2,490 gold, the calculated cost of a resurrection spell. Gold comes slowly, taking several games before we get a small pile, thanks to several setbacks, including several run-ins with the cult that killed the player character's wife. Finally meet a cleric powerful enough to cast the spell, and he even offers a 1,000 gold discount if we reclaim his captured temple. After killing literally hundreds of people, we finally succeed, and it's time for a happy reunion. The cleric asks what plane he should start searching for the wife's soul. The PC replies, Celestia, since that matches her alignment. The resurrection spell fails. I'm sorry, your wife's soul wasn't willing to be resurrected, and she's in hell. Ha ha ha! What a Merry Christmas. Be me, playing D&D with friends, using a homebrew blade oil system. Basically, you can coat weapons in different oils to get specific damage types. Pretty cool. One day, our normal oil vendor doesn't have what we want. Find a shady guy on the streets, selling oil made from the venom of a cobra. Just what we need. Double price. We'll take it. Fight comes. Douse sword in oil. DM says, I don't get my extra damage? You what? .png? One of my party members starts laughing uncontrollably. Confused on WebP. Suddenly it hits me. We bought fucking snake oil. 2 party members died during that fight. Good times. Whole party of 3 intelligence people charge into the Mind Flayer lair. Mind Flayer starves to death as their brains contain nothing. In a generic D&D setting, DM bestows upon your character rulership over all kinds of fungus. A bit magically boosted rulership, so you can really emphasize some fungal traits. How would you make use of your powers? Be me. Gain the power of all fungus. Decide to develop new abilities. Find a way to spray pure psilocybin at my enemies. Eventually create an aura of psilocybin around myself. Enemies become docile around me. Eventually all my foes become my friends. They all enjoy my presence. They all call me a fun guy. What are your thoughts on someone choosing to play a noble character instead of a lower class character? Is it a warning sign? I'm very confused. Why? Well, we have a dirty druid hermit, a grizzled swashbuckler, a bard conman, and a bloodthirsty tribal barbarian. And that's confusing you? No, what's confusing me is the fact that you're playing a rich and powerful sorcerer with ties to the upper class. I'm the party sugar daddy.
As a GM, and a pretty damn fine one, I've banned martial classes from my table, 5e, because they're so boring and useless. Level 1 wizard, I can move stuff with my mind. Level 1 fighter, herder, I can hit with my sword. Level 20 wizard, can summon interplanar creatures and cause handfuls of dice of damage. Level 20 fighter, I hit it 3 times with my sword. See the problem here? Players are not to bring martial classes to my table.
I am a barbarian. I have the highest hit die in the game, 2 times that of a wizard. I have a natural armor that allows me to tank damage without wearing anything. I have the rage ability, which not only gives me resistance to the most common damage types in the game, slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning, but also gives me proficiency on every melee attack. This increases as I get more powerful. By level 2, I can sense traps and deal more damage at the cost of getting more damage. By level 5, I can attack twice and move faster. By level 7, I gain advantage on initiative and can't be surprised at the beginning of combat. By level 9, I deal 3 times the damage on critical hits. This increases to 4 times damage at level 13 and 5 times damage at level 17. By level 11, I gain the ability to not die if enraged. By level 15, my rage lasts an entire encounter. By level 18, my strength score can be used for strength checks and saving throws. By level 20, rage and all its benefits becomes permanent. Decide to join group. DM tells me he doesn't allow martial classes. He tells me martials are useless. Meanwhile, the wizard gets a paper cut and has to roll death saves.
Your party is forced into eating at a vegan lunch. What do?
My dragonborn fighter looks at his plate with disdain. He decides to pick it up and throw it on the ground. He yells at the host, "Do I look like a fucking iguana to you?" Host falls speechless. My party begins to glare at me. The bard pipes up with, "I mean, kinda." What's the cringiest character you ever played? This wasn't mine, but still very cringe. DM for Adventurers League. Organizer asks if I had room for one more. Cautiously agree. Organizer brings over a guy in his mid-20s. Dude seems normal enough except for the weird cat ears he was wearing. Ask the guy what character he wanted to play. He tells me a Tabaxi rogue. I get his character sheet. Quickly notice it was dripping with edge. Orphan, bloodlust, affinity for blades, wears all black, name was Xander Bloodclaw, etc. Edgelord.jpg. Thought to myself that it wouldn't be too bad. I accepted his character and we started the session. Luckily, the players were in a tavern, so it was easy to introduce the new character. I tell the others that in the dark corners of the tavern, they notice a dark creature clad in black clothes. One of the players decided to approach. The player introduces himself and asks him his name. It was at this point shit went from normal edgelord cringe to another level of what the fuckery that I had never seen. The guy looked the player in the eyes and said in a high-pitched voice,
"My name is Ander Bloodclaw. I is looking for the man who has killed my parents."
Due to either confusion or my brain short-circuiting, I fell silent. As we continued with the session, he continued saying very edgy shit in a woe. Once the session was over, I asked him why he was talking like that. He told me, "That's how tabaxi speak." Pyromaniac alcoholic rogue wants a pet. Pays peasants 1 GP per mouse delivered. Has 10k GP. Buys 10k mice. Side note, local cat population starves. Drags 10k mice around in cages in the wagon carrying all his liquor. Thinks maybe alcoholic mice might be more his thing. Tries blends of alcohol and oil to have flammable mice servants. Skips forward to an interaction with a local merchant who is suspected of having connections to local bandits. Party begins diplomatic interrogation. Rogue bursts into the shop. "Nobody panic! But I lost all the mice!" Centaurs can let medium creatures ride on them. Centaurs are also medium creatures. Time to play an all-centaur party that stacks up into fucking Voltron. "Dude, my barbarian loves to drink. Oh, he loves grog and ale. Oh, and he loves fighting, lol. Do we just arrive in town? I'll go to the tavern." Party arrives at the tavern. Barbarian opens the door. Barbarian notices there is no bar. There is no wenches. There is no grog or ale. It's just a white room. There are several chairs in a circle. A man walks up to the barbarian. The barbarian asks where they are. The man tells him he's amongst friends who love him. The other party members start pulling out parchments. The rogue begins crying. The paladin tells the barbarian that this is an intervention. Playing Pathfinder with some friends. General plot is that we're a small kingdom secret police. Several lords have been assassinated, and we need to get to the bottom of it. Aforementioned assassin we've been trying to track down is a 15th level thug, described as 6'5" and built like a brick shithouse. Finally, track him down. Subdue him, put him in a secluded spot to interrogate him. Before my party can react, I have an idea.
If I took that mask off, would you die?
DM looks at me, immediately knows what's going on. Puts an empty glass up to his mouth and in his best Bane voice says, "It would be extremely painful." Rest of the table groans collectively.
You're a big guy.
"For you." Playing D&D, Wizard gets into a fight with an important NPC. When the wizard realizes who the NPC is, he apologizes and asks, "As a token of my goodwill, would you like me to make you a magical sword?" NPC agrees. Wizard casts polymorph and turns them into a sword. Argues that the NPC shouldn't have a will save because they agreed to it. Player asks the female NPC what her name is. Don't have one prepared. Fumble around and just randomly spout out the name of my old high school crush. Player asks if she's cute. Yeah. He starts romancing her. Fuck! What do I do? Alright, here's a story from my latest group I'm DMing. Small band of adventurers, a rogue, a sorcerer, and a beguiler, just finished killing a direwolf terrorizing the farmland. Come back to the farmhouse they were sent from to collect reward. Find a man selling the farmer a magic-curing potion. Supposedly cures all afflictions. Farmer's family is sick. The party's not buying it, .jpg. They walk up to the salesman, greasy as fuck, both in appearance and personality. Well dressed though. After a short social encounter and a lot of good rolls, they manage to get him to make a mistake and run away. They catch him, beat the shit out of him, tie him up outside, loot all his shit, help the farmer out. Meanwhile, the salesman has been screaming racial slurs at the sorcerer. She's an elf. She finally has enough.
Anon, I want to punch this fucker in the face as hard as I can.
The rest of the party tries to stop her, rolls a critical, accidentally kills the man. Shit. They then took his hat and his horse-driven cart. My party is supposedly the good guys. Had my first encounter with another DM in real life today. It went a little something like this. Be me, forever DM for a few different groups over the years. Always had slightly different members, but a few overlaps. Always the DM, never a player. Tons of character ideas. Sure, I've used them as NPCs, but it's not the same. After about 10 years, I'm getting tired of always being a DM. Ask around the friend group to see if anyone would be interested in being the DM for a one-shot. Something simple so I can kick back and fuck around for a week. Find a guy. Known him for a while, never knew he was into tabletop games. He's a bit like me, forever DM. We talk about our histories with D&D, problematic players, etc. He asked me why I want to be a player now when I'm in the middle of a campaign. I explained to him I need an extra week to write the next part of my campaign. He stares at me blankly. What game are you guys playing that you need to write for 2 whole weeks? I tell him simply, Pathfinder. He looks frustrated. No, not what rule set. What game? I'm confused. I ask him to explain. What game? You say you've been a DM for 10 years and you don't even know your game? Like Curse of Strahd or Children of the Void. I ask if he's talking about pre-written campaigns. Of course I'm talking about them. Why do you need 2 weeks to write 1 session? I explain that I'm just doing a homebrew campaign loosely based on Pathfinder. He said something that I never expected to hear. Wait, WTF, you could do that? You're bullshitting me. I feel like I've opened a whole new world of possibilities for this guy. Now, I'm not hating on people who only play box adventures. I was just blown away that this guy has been a DM for about 3 years now, apparently, and he's never even heard of homebrew campaigns. Run campaign for adult friends. They make joke characters, murder and derail everything. Have to tell them multiple times that no, they cannot rape the Lord's daughter. Run campaign for 15-year-old nephew and his friends. They're mature, roleplay well, ask insightful questions, and carefully plan every move. Have the moral compass of Judge fucking Dredd. Be me. First time running 5e, but years of experience. Teaching the basics of D&D to newbies, all but one. Experienced player is a drow barbarian with bare minimum intelligence. Party comes upon door to their first dungeon. Experienced player asks rogue to check for traps. A good start, though there are none. Roll strength check to hack door down with my axe. Nat 1. The axe head breaks open the door as it slowly creaks open, unlocked. Experienced player complains at me for being harsh. It's not my fault you and your character have the same intelligence. Experienced player throws his dice at me and walks out. My face win. Anyone else have players rage quit? Had a druid that took it upon themselves to protect and maintain a large forest near the city we return to often. Dumped so much gold on agates to awaken as many animals in the forest as possible. The BBEG sent a threat to kill each of us while we were separated. My druid felt like a Disney princess as all the creatures of the forest beat its ass. I only got off like 1 attack on this guy. I mean, what do you do against deer with mounted crossbows reloaded by squirrels? You die screaming is what you do. One player blatantly cheats like fucking crazy all the time. Whenever he rolls dice, he quickly snatches it before anyone can see what it was, looks at it, goes, woo, and announces his result. Unsurprisingly, this dude apparently has a knack for rolling high suspiciously often. I think there was 1 5-hour session where he didn't roll anything less than an 18. Basically celebrates whenever he rolls a nat 20! People just let it slide because arguing with him always turns into a major pain. We start playing on Roll20 because the group's in 3 different states at this point. Throws a fit the first couple sessions because we want him to use the dice roller on the site and not just rolling his dice at home and promising he'll say what it really is. Honest. He tries rolling at home anyways and rolls like 4 nat 20s in a row. Gets mad the DM doesn't take it. Quits the group a month later because it's boring for him when he can't cheat or whatever nonsense he made up to not have to say that. Thank you for watching. Please check out my other videos. There are also things. And how was that? First Tales from 4chan in a while. Feel really good? Let me know your RPG horror stories or your RPG funnies down in the comments below. Maybe I'll make another Tales from 4chan in like 5 years. That sound good? Also check out, I stream on Twitch and stuff. That's something that people like to do. You can watch me play video games. I say poop champ a lot. Bye.